We live in weird times where men are absolutely and completely guilty until and unless they're proven not guilty. The default assumption of society, the law, and people, in general, is that men are always guilty and women are always the victim. This is why men have started to be cautious and protect themselves however they can in public places and even inside offices. That's more than enough to rile up your angry feminists and Karens who use this as fuel to light up another fire in the list of things they need to create more hatred of men and push women to live strong and independent lives without men until they're 40 and wake up to realize how they'd been wrong to believe in feminism in the first place. It's plain and simple. Men are afraid they're going to get fired. A study that was conducted to evaluate the effects and consequences of the Me Too movement found that men are becoming noticeably less willing to approach their female peers in the workplace. According to the report, 20% of men avoid speaking to and interacting with their female coworkers in private circumstances. A third or more of men stated they would be terrified to be alone with a woman in the study's primary research, which questioned men how they would feel if they were in the office alone with a woman. Why? Well, the main reason is that they just don't want to be in a situation where they're framed for any sort of allegations against them by the women. They don't want to lose their jobs over some women. And it's pretty easy for women to have a man fired from his job these days. It's just one email, call, or conversation away from. And with HR, it's as I said before, men will always be guilty in the eyes of corporate authority. Guilty first and by default, unless proven not guilty. These days, you are guilty until you can demonstrate your innocence. Most men are terrified of this. God forbid if a woman even makes a false claim that a man harassed her at work. That man will lose his career and any hope of ever finding another job, along with his credibility and a sense of self. That is a significant edge women enjoy over males in work. It should not be surprising that 21% of males stated that they would be unwilling to employ a woman for a position requiring a close partnership, such as traveling on business. 19% of men said they would be hesitant to hire a woman who was seen to be attractive by society, only because everybody will automatically think the guy was a creep who only wanted someone around him for her looks and not her talent. True, isn't it? This was the result of a survey taken of employees working in various businesses. The survey also noted that similar surveys taken in the past did not garner similar results. In the previous surveys, men were more comfortable interacting with women in office settings. Previously, 15% of men compared to 21% in the later surveys indicated they would be less likely to recruit women for positions that demand close interpersonal interactions. So, with the threat of an allegation always a possibility when working with women, men work more freely with other men. This only serves to demonstrate how increasingly wary males have become of women throughout time, especially in the last 10 years, and how much they would prefer to communicate and work with other guys. In cubicles, meetings, and boardrooms, they prefer to work with other males rather than women because they can share information, talk about ideas, and organize their schedules together. This is due to their fear of losing the career they have worked so hard to build over a long period of time. They may lose everything with just one unfounded accusation. In a society that primarily takes into account and believes what women say, one false charge could end up being the villain. So, don't blame men, I mean. Men can see what has happened over the years, especially with the advent of the Me Too movement. They don't want to bear responsibility for something they did not commit. They don't want to lose their jobs, status, and position in society. Just to be clear, men not saying that they are the only ones that are terrified of women here. Women also seem to be hiring fewer women in general. According to the results of the preceding poll, more than 10% of men and women were projected to be less likely than before to hire attractive women. I feel this is the case because, in general, people tend to believe attractive people more than those who lack beauty. We can credit popular culture for that. Guys know the reality of it all. If women think guys are actually trying to flirt with women at work, trust me, they know what they're worth. And they know their job is worth way more than any woman, even if she's a 10 and completely out of his league. In every movie you see, regardless of how recent or how old it is, the lead character is either the most attractive woman or the most attractive man, who is incapable of wrongdoing and who works to uphold justice in society. The evil men and villains are always aged, gorgeous, scared people who look awful. Society has basically told generations after generations of people that the bad guys and girls are always ugly, while the good guys and girls are attractive. So it really does factor into that when a good-looking woman falsely accuses a not-so-good-looking guy of harassment. Guess who will automatically be villainized and who will automatically become the damsel in distress? Guys find it extremely challenging to deal with the harassment issue. Some people may be accused of harassment for merely making jokes with a coworker. Even in this instance, two male coworkers could legitimately be making jokes among themselves without targeting anyone, and they could be condemned for it as harassment. Then, all of a sudden, HR is after them and interrogating them about everything. Men are wary of shaking hands with women out of concern that she could see that as a form of harassment. Avoiding touch altogether would be easier and safer, don't you think? And you know what? Every other person has a different perception of what harassment in the workplace means. For some, it's an offhand comment about what they're wearing, and for others, it's just a look. This study's thorough debunking of the notion that men lack a clear sense of what constitutes unacceptable behavior, however, is what makes it so intriguing. The first step taken by the researchers was to examine 19 acts and determine whether or not to categorize them as harassment. Sending explicit emails to subordinates is an example of this. Both genders largely agree on what harassment entails, and the majority of men and women, respectively, are aware of what it is. One of the authors of the study told the Harvard Business Review that it is mostly inaccurate to suggest that men don't realize their behavior is inappropriate and that women are making a mountain out of a molehill. If anything, women define harassment more broadly than males. Most males are able to distinguish between a lovely hug and a wicked one. They are fully aware of what is considered harassment. On the other hand, from the perspective of a woman, anything is harassment. If a line manager asks a subordinate or junior team member to stay late at the office for an hour, she can create a scenario in which she is seen with the manager in the CCTV cameras as he speaks to her and gives her instructions on how to approach a specific project. And she can then essentially fabricate a story about how he was trying to harass her. And you know what? HR would believe the woman. It makes sense that males would want to avoid being alone with women in order to avoid any potential problems that could endanger their entire careers. And because they feel left out, women have started to protest about this. They are no longer expected to work harder on projects and finish them in the office's early hours of the morning. Because they know their professions won't be in jeopardy, people would prefer to ask men to stay late and work with them. Additionally, women are not included in the team's private sessions when crucial information is discussed. For example, if I had to share anything with a coworker in a small conference room by myself, and I had to go with someone, I'd choose a male since I know that asking a woman into a small area could look strange to others. In the corporate sector, the repercussions of them too are still being felt not only in America, but also in Europe, England, and other areas of the world. As long as they continue to overreact to the movement and make the bogus accusations against them that we frequently see in the media, men will continue to avoid working with women. What are your thoughts on this? Let's discuss this in the comments section. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your buddies, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all the kings like yourself need to know.